Data doesn't lie, your go-to for the science behind the art of parenting.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for doing this. This is my dear friend, Kelly Wilbanks. She is a writer, stay-at-home mom, 3 beautiful girls. Viv is 8, I think Evie's 5, and Annie's 3. And she also writes for Baby Center, currently interning for Judy Lip, I think.
Kathy Lip.
Kathy Lip, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Anyway, Kelly reached out to me and mentioned that she would like to share her experience with postpartum depression. I'm really grateful that you want to. So I just kind of let you talk. What did you think? How did you know? How did you know?
Right. Well, so I had 2 babies prior to having, my last one, which really triggered some postpartum depression for me. So in comparison to those 2 experiences that I had, the one with postpartum just felt like really different. Part of it was circumstances. I had a baby 20 months prior after Evie. They're only 20 months apart, and circumstances were different. Everything felt heavier, and I think I didn't like the fact that I was having a baby so soon. I really treasured both of my pregnancies with Vivian and then with Evelyn, and I liked having that time and space to recover and enjoy each one.
Yeah.
That's low-key.
Low-key, I know.
This is how it is, and the time is right? And so with Annie, I struggled even when I was pregnant, just wrapping my mind around, okay, we're going to have another baby. And then I was pregnant with Annie and I delivered her in February. I think there may have been a little seasonal, I couldn't get out. We were really blanketed in snow during that time. So I couldn't even go out to the mailbox without worrying that I would slip. And in fact, at one point, I was going to get a massage and I fell out of the car to the ground. And it was just really icy and snowy. So
it was compounded. Everything just felt a lot more. There was a lot happening at the same time.
I think so, and I had seen some of my other friends, go from having 2 kids to 3 kids. And I feel like the stress of that brought out some mental health stuff for them. And I was afraid of what it might look like for me. So I feel like there was apprehension with having this 3rd baby where I had just been excited and hopeful and anticipatory the other 2 times.
So it felt a bit more, there were a lot of setups leading into it or in my language, I guess, a lot more risk factors leading into it that potentially made you more vulnerable to having postpartum depression.
I think so. And so with Evie as well, I had hurt my knee and I actually had a hip misalignment. And so I had been seeing a physical therapist for that. And my treatment for that ended the same month I ended up getting pregnant with Annie.
Wow.
So, it was I just got this body back and I could start being.
I enjoy it for a second.
Yeah, right? I couldn't even breathe. So yeah, so there was some of that. And then when Annie was born, she was born with a tongue tie that went undiagnosed for probably about 4 months. There just wasn't the resources in Yakima to diagnose it accurately. Even though I tried to go through the proper channels through our pediatrician, and then my pediatrician was really great. She was I trust you, if you've done this research, this isn't my specialty, so, let me send you on to the ear, nose, and throat specialist. And he was just, I waited for that appointment, hoping against hope, this problem here, without having to go outside of Yakima. And he really squashed my hope. He just really was uneducated about it. In fact, he told me that her tongue has nothing to do with her tummy troubles.
No.
Yeah, like 100%. And
I apologize on behalf of the medical profession. I'm sorry. That was, no.
You know, an old doctor that wasn't reading new stuff. You know, you have to keep learning, right? And so I didn't even say anything to him. I mean, honestly, most of the time I'm like, I'm going to advocate for what's right and true, but I was like, I just don't even know there's no way to break through that arrogance, you know? But I knew I had another card to play with Annie in particular. So I had actually written an article about tongue tie for baby centers. So I just followed my own guidance in a way. And I found, I connected with this doctor in Portland, and he was wonderful. He let me send pictures of her tongue, was able to diagnose it online, and I was able to bring her in. But her incessant crying, you know, she was in pain. You know, he had me, I mean, you know, they ask you to do the simple thing, right? Like, okay, so just count how many times she unlatches while you're nursing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hadn't thought to do that. 19 times in 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, no, that's not,
no, that's not normal. I was doing all the things. I was trying to hold her upright. I was trying to, you know, burp her in between, and she was just sucking in so much air. So, so yeah, and you know, and it's so hard because kids are just labeled colicky, or they're labeled like she was given medication for acid reflux, you know, like it's just, we misdiagnose these little ones, and I think that can send their poor mamas.
Yeah, that's very true.
Tailspin, because I was like, that's not it, but these professionals are telling me it is, and I have to fight against that, as well as, you know, in my exhausted state.
I have no reserves too, and I'm relying on you to, and I'm glad you brought that up. So what would you want, like what would you tell someone who was going through the same thing? Like what's the one thing you felt like was a lifeline for you?
Oh goodness. So I feel like people who listened to me and didn't try to say, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Like folks who listened to, hey, I actually think it's this. I think it's tongue tie. I mean, even the day before, like the morning of Annie's surgery, I had somebody who I had known, you know, prior. We connected in Portland, and we were taking our kids to this, the children's museum in Portland, and she was sitting next to me and saying, well, are you sure it isn't your diet? Is it sure it isn't, you know, are you sure you haven't like been, and I'm like, no, like, please don't get me in something that I've, you know, I don't know. It's like, we face a lot of mom guilt, right? Like it's already there. Like, I was confident, but it really affected our friendship, because I was like, why aren't you believing what I'm saying?
Why aren't you believing what I'm saying to you? Why aren't you hearing me? Yeah.
So I think having somebody who listens, and then, I mean, my brother really helped me out during this time, because he listened to everything that was going on, and then he actually offered help. So I reached this like point of frustration for me where I just had to call Trey, and I had to say, hey, come home from work, because Annie will not stop crying, and I can't make the kids food, and I'm just gonna throw her against a wall if you don't come. And I knew I wasn't, like, I was margin.
You needed to physically hand her over to someone else and say, I can't right now.
And I went outside, and where there were no walls, I just sat and I cried.
Right.
And held her as she cried, and later I told my brother about that, and he's like, well, let's see if we can get you some help in the afternoons when it's the hardest. So he sent us like $400, and that helped us, you know, afford a teenager, you know, a teenage babysitter to come in. I think they came in from like 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, somewhere in there, and for the next, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, to help me during that time, because my husband works in the evening, So
right, he does, right. So he's in there.
so I'd always have that help in the morning, but then when it goes crazy in the
Exactly.
afternoon,
Food, I'm hungry. Yeah.
that's when I needed the help. So, so somebody who listened, and then also somebody who offered tangible help, or, you know, brought a meal or something. I mean, I don't know. I feel like our society is like so excited to help a brand new mom, right? Like find her feet, and I love that.
Very good point. But then a mom is a mom is a mom, and she needs help at every stage.
She does. And like you have a second kid and a third kid, and that help just kind of wanes. It's like, well, you just keep adding, or perhaps there's even some disdain, like, well, you should just stop at 2, or I don't know, like what it is exactly.
You know this by now. I mean, you've done it twice, so the third should be, you know. Yeah.
No, actually, it does not get easier.
No, it doesn't get easier. Yeah.
But so yeah, you know, I don't know. And my mom was younger. My Trey's mom was younger and was able to help more, and not as much this time. And 3 kids just seems like so much to some people. So it's just
yeah. Did you eventually so in getting help and getting like structured help, someone there to physically help you, family recognizing that you needed help and just listening? Did you get any more, did you use any counseling? Did you do any medication? Did you do any of that?
Yes. So I went and saw our doctor. She was a doctor friend, you know, that I really trusted, and just said, this is what's going on. And, you know, I told her this is how, like, I was so like upset with Annie and upset with her crying that I needed Trey to come home and be with me. Because I was so close to the end of my rope. And so I saw a counselor, and it's such a funny, I feel like it's a catch-22. It's like my world felt overwhelming. And because it kind of was
overwhelming,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, you get these she prescribed me an antidepressant, and I remember her telling me, your brain is telling you it's overwhelming.
And you're like, yeah, but it is.
But my reality is like, it's not like I've got this like misunderstanding of what's going on in my world.
Yes.
Like I'm a highly capable person, as you know. Like, I do a lot of stuff, and so but I just said, okay, that's gonna be the pill I have to swallow, and I'm gonna, you know, take this medicine, and I'm also gonna create space to allow people to help me. So I took the medicine. She offered counseling alongside with that, but I just didn't feel like I had the time for that outside of what we were already doing. But I did get a little counseling at some appointments. They actually had a counselor come in and talk to me a little bit. And so I just know myself enough to know when I'm in crisis management, it's more like me just blah, and not me so much processing. So I've done counseling since then, and I think it's absolutely helpful, and most of the time should, you know, go hand in hand with medication. But at the time, it just wasn't the thing. Would help.
But I think that's also good to recognize, right? You recognize your limit, because you then don't want to put too much on your plate and have everything come crumbling down. So I think you were present through it. Knowing yourself and recognizing that this is different. This is not what I can do, and this is what I need, and this is how much I can handle right now.
Right.
I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. So and honestly, just acknowledging that was huge. And so, I mean, I contacted Baby Center, said Annie's being a really hard baby right now, you know, and I'm having a hard time adjusting to 3. So I just need a little more room. And they were so gracious. They're like, yeah, don't come back and write for us until you feel ready. And then we had, I had a friend come in who I paid. You know, she came in and cleaned for us, did kind of a deep clean once a week. And so that helped. I mean, I remember her cleaning our kitchen and going, I forgot the counters could be that color, you know? It was
like, I really needed help.
Like, she cleaned up drips on the cabinets that had been there that
Oh my goodness, that is funny. That is, yeah.
They just had become part of the scene, so she was helpful. And just getting the floor clean, you know, like the floor for me is always the hard one because you can pick up all the things and you can sweep, and then somebody needs you, you know, and so then,
and then you're gone. Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
And we've got dark brown hardwood floors, so it hides a lot.
It hides a lot. That's true. What would if in conclusion, what would be your, if you had to give a mom one piece of advice, what would you tell her? What's your take-home point?
Yeah, my take-home point would be to not be afraid to ask for the help that you need, and give people tangible ways that they can help you.
I like that.
And so whether that be, can you please come and just run a load of laundry for me? Can you please come and clean the bathroom? Or I need a meal. Because some people, they just go, hey, how can I help? And you have like, I don't know, I just need all the help, you know?
Exactly. I like that. Give people specific tasks to help you with.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for doing this. And I'm so grateful that you were vulnerable with me and with us and sharing that. And I think the goal is really just to, because we're all in this together, right? Someday I will look back on this and be like, oh my God, I needed to hear this today because, you know, I'm going through this. Or some other mom will be like, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. So thank you for your vulnerability. Yeah. And I will be calling you for other things.
Yes, please do. Please do. And I love what you're doing, and like your videos, like even just the little quick ones, are just such a good little bit of pep. I love that. So keep it up.
Thank you very much. I'm enjoying doing it so far. I think if we all grow, because I learn and you learn, I think if we all grow together, then, you know, what more can you ask for? So,
right?
Give your girl kisses and hugs for me.
I will definitely. And give your little ones and give your mama a hug for us.
I will. Thanks, Kelly.
Take care.
And no.